shadow camping, and especially to shadow camping base camp. And today we're talking about cookers. I thought it'd be interesting to have a look at the cookers that I've got, because there are quite a few people that are asking that question. Do they have a cooker that caters for every situation? So let's see if we can do that. Start off with Jetboil. I think everyone's heard of, most people would have heard of a Jetboil. The Jetboil is different from most other cooking systems insofar as it has fins all the way around the inside of the bottom of the pot. What that does is, as the burner heats underneath, it heats those fins up as well, and that increases the surface area of the bottom of the pot, which means that it heats faster. Sounds like a good idea, doesn't it? Well, not so much. This one is a genuine Jetboil, as you can see, and this one was made by a company called Boblov. They gave it to me last year to have a play with, and does the job just as well as this one. They use a simple burner. It screws onto a gas bottle, and there are lots of little holes in the burner, and then the pot just locates on top of that. So very simple so far. But one of the things that you get with this is these are really good at heating water. They're very fast at heating water, and they can probably heat most things up quickly, but I would have thought that if you put something like a ragu or soup or something in there, you might get a bit of burning on the bottom. But that isn't where the issue lies. The issue lies in the fact that the Jetboil is designed so everything is contained inside the pot. So you can see where I'm going with this, can't you? If you cook a ragu in here, then you're going to have a hell of a mess in there. And you don't want to be putting your burner, your gas bottle, your tripod stand for the gas bottle all back into a dirty pot. So you either have to clean it out, and if you're going to clean it out, you have to make sure you dry it out, because otherwise it rusts. And if you clean it out, then all well and good. But if you can't clean it out, then you have to take a plastic bag to put everything else in. Either that, or you store this not in the Jetboil, which means then that you've got a bit less space in your pack on the way back. Now you can overcome that by using a pot stand, which sounds like a great idea, doesn't it? The downside to it is that all of these little jets here, they're all angled in. Sorry, they're all angled inwards, so that they give the maximum amount of flame on those fins. And what that means is the contact area in the bottom of the pan, which is on your pot stand, is very small. You can see where we're going. So if you've got a pot on the top, maybe a 6-inch billy or something like that, and you've got your baked beans or your soup or your ragu or whatever, then you're going to get it intensely heating right in the middle of it. And what happens is it burns it. And when we were down in Cornwall, beside that tin mine, that's exactly what happened to that curry that I cooked. So there are downsides to it. Now on the upside, if you are taking wet MREs with you, you just put them in there, put some water in, boil them. Fantastic. But as an actual cooking device, I don't think that I wouldn't use it for that. So that's the Jetboils. Fast at boiling water, not very versatile when it comes to heating food. Then we have your more conventional type of gas cooker. This one's an OEX one, so it all folds out and looks great, and it connects to one of the standard gas bottles, so you can use that. Now on this, you'll see that all of the jets are pointing outwards because it's designed to heat a bigger pan. It's a great idea, this one, but it's poorly put together, or not poorly put together, it's poorly, the design is poorly implemented. I don't know whether you can see the distance between the top of the pot stand and the burner is not very big. It's probably 3/4 of an inch. What that means is when you have a pot on here, so let's say you've got an 8-inch billy pot because it's got quite a big flame bulb on it. So it's a 6 or 8 inch billy pot, and you turn it up full. What happens is the heat generated radiates back down onto the burner, and the burner starts glowing red hot, and then the flame goes inside the burner, which is probably not a good idea, and obviously it doesn't heat anything. So I wouldn't recommend this particular one, but these folding stoves are brilliant when you find one that works. And when I find one that works, I'll probably get it and use it. If you've got any recommendations, please do put it down in the comments section, because I'd be interested to know if you've got one that does what it's supposed to do. So next, this one I got from the local tip. Cost me £2, and it's an old camping gas cooker. It just locates on there. That's what stops it falling over. These are used as the windbreaks. It uses one of the pierced type gas cylinders, so once you put it together you can't take it apart again. We used one of these every year when we went camping for 5 or 6 weeks in the summer holidays with my parents, and my mum used to cook all of our meals on that. So do they work? I can tell you they do. They're not really that backpacking-y, although without the enclosure then you could probably get away with it. But interesting. I think it's from about the 1960s, these ones. Great little piece of kit there. Then we move on to alcohol, not the drinking type, so there'd be no cheers. Alcohol burners. This is a Trangia burner. They're very simple, low technology, I would say. You put your meths or whatever it is in here and light it, and once it heats up it vaporizes the fuel that's in this outside part, and the vapors come out of here light, and you get a jet of flame, or a flame bulb. So that's how they work. Very, very versatile. You can use these in the traditional Trangia, which has got a big cooking system, and they use it on the D&V. I think loads of people have got those. You can also put them inside other things. So I have my little emergency twig stove here. I'll tell you about that in a minute, but as regards to the Trangia burner, it slots in there. Now you have an alcohol burner in a solid stand. So the Trangia burners, I think, they're a great little thing. So, twig stove. This one, as I said, this is my Bushcraft Essentials. It's a titanium stove, and it all folds flat, weighs almost nothing, and I take it with me whenever I go out, because you never quite know what you're going to face. So if I get out and for some reason my gas has leaked, so I don't have any gas, or the jet's blocked and I don't have anything to unblock it, then I've got this little puppy. And like I say, if you take the Trangia with you, then that's fine. If you don't, and you're just going to use twigs, then normal, you light it, maybe a fire lighter, wood wall lighter, and you poke your twigs through the hole there. The other thing you can do is you can take hexi blocks, and you can use hexi blocks in there. If you're using the hexi blocks, you put it up on the top, put the bottom up to the top slot. If you're using the Trangia burner, you put it down to the bottom slot. And if you're using twigs, you can use it on any 3 of the slots. It's a great little thing. Costs a little more than you'd expect, actually. I think I bought there's a solid piece that goes in the bottom, which is supposed to catch the ash. I think I paid probably about £35 for it in total, but as a backup, perfect, exactly what you want. Recommend that. Right, hexi blocks out of the way. Twig stove number 2. This one has various configurations. It comes in 4 pieces, and it does do a gasification. There's a gasification ring here. So that bit goes on there, this bit goes down in there, like that. This bit goes on the top, and you feed your twigs in here. The burning takes place here, but you get the gasification coming out of here. So fresh air goes in down the bottom, and it mixes with the gases from the wood, comes out the top and gives you a much better flame. You can also use it with the Trangia burner, so you just configure it in a different way. This one I bought off Amazon, and I think it was about £20, so it wasn't expensive. Good little dependable twig stove. My favourite twig stove is this one. This one was off Amazon. All slots together. Like that. And you have pan stand goes on the top, like that. And you also have a grill rack, so if you're cooking sausages, the grill rack's on the top. It's nice and thin, nice fine squares, so things don't drop through. I really like this. This was £19 off Amazon. It's similar in the idea to the Bush box, but it's much bigger. I think the Bush box is about, I can't show you, it's about that big. So it's less than half the size of this. This one's I like because I don't having to poke the little sticks through little holes. You can get a decent amount of fuel in there. I've cooked egg and bacon on this in a frying pan, and you can get enough fuel in it to cook the bacon and the eggs all the way through without having to restock it. So I like that. Folds flat, it's nice and light, stainless steel, won't rust. Bit like the Bush box, but the Bush box, I think the stainless steel Bush box is around about 50, 60 pounds. The titanium one's 70, 80 pounds. This was 19 pounds. I like this, and I've used it quite a bit. Pressurized stoves. This one is one which has been around forever. It's a Coleman pressurized stove. This one's actually Sarah's. And Sarah took this to Alaska on an 8-week expedition with Operation Raleigh, and she used this every day to cook her food on. So that shows you it's quite bulletproof. Basically, you put Coleman fuel in, and the fuel goes in there. You pressurise it here, and then this is your regulator up here. It gives you a good amount of heat. It's bulletproof. It's a really robust cooker. Downside, it's quite heavy and it's a little bit bulky. The fuel is a bit specialised, though I understand from someone that you can use Aspen fuel with it, which then is a little less specialised. But it's a very good pressurised cooker. Very good. This pressurised cooker you may not have seen before. This is an old Primus cooker. Dates back to 1939, this one, so it's an early-ish one. I do believe they go even earlier, I think 1928, something like that. But very similar to the Coleman in the way that you deal with it. So you put your fuel in through there and you pump it up here. Now this one's a bit different from the Coleman insofar as the fuel that you're using has to vaporise, it has to evaporate. So what you do is you pour methylated spirits into this little collar and you light it and you let it burn out, and you pour it in again, do the same thing again, and just before it runs out then you pump this up, which will then send the paraffin that's in here up through the jet. The jet will be so hot that it will vaporise and it will give you a nice blue flame. It's a bit of an art, but once you get it right, it's a great cooker, and for something that's the best part of 80 years old, it's not bad going. Next, cassette cookers. Cassette cookers are exactly what they say. They take a gas cylinder. You take one of these gas cylinders, everyone's familiar with these. Gas cylinder goes in there. Shut the door, lock that, off you go, and you've got a flame. Really simple to use. Absolutely not a backpacking piece of equipment. Now, there are cassette cookers and cassette cookers. This one was something that was advertised at Go Outdoors for £20 with 8 gas bottles, and I thought, well, that would be useful because when I'm out camping with Sarah, we can always, just use that and have a cup of tea in the morning or something like that. Great idea, not so much. The more expensive ones, the better quality ones, have a metal plate which joins from the burner, and it comes out and it pre-warms, it warms the gas bottle. Not having that means that, as many of you will know, when you use a gas bottle, whether it's one of the big propane ones or whatever, they always start icing up, and that's because of the evaporation of the gas. So not having that on there means that the flame in here, in anything other than sunlight, goes down and down and down and down until it stops, or it almost stops. It doesn't completely stop. You overcome that by buying a decent one. This one has the warming flap, as you can see, which is connected to the burner, so that preheats the gas bottle. This one, instead of having a lever that goes down, you just push it and it locks on, which is quite a nice idea, but exactly the same. Push it, off you go. The flame is much better on this one. Now I've noticed that these ones are used by a lot of the people that are doing cooking on the cooking programs. There's that metal plate that I told you about. They're a great piece of kit, but these ones are much more expensive. I think this one was £59. So I'll be using that in Shadow Base Camp to rustle up a few camping ideas for you, or camping food ideas for you. Then you have the much more traditional style of cooker. This one I bought when I was 19. It does exactly what it looks like it does. It's got 2 burners, 2 regulators, 2 gas bottles, so you've got redundancy. Very sturdy. It's not particularly light. The gas bottles unscrew, so you unscrew those and the legs fold flat, so that then you've just got that something that big that you're carrying. It's got a little carry handle on it. By any stretch of the imagination, it's not a backpacking cooker, but it is a good camping cooker, and it's a step up from that camping gas one, the blue one. So those are the camping cookers that I've got. I've got some other ovens and what have you, but I'll show you that in a different video. So, in answer to the question, does any one cooker cater for all occasions? The answer is kind of no, not really. Probably the closest one is the Trangia burner. Why do I say that? Well, the Trangia burner, you carry your fuel, it's obviously very small, and when you're using it with something that, like this, that folds up into something that size, then you haven't really got too much that you're carrying. It's very lightweight. I carry my fuel in a Trangia bottle, so I just use one of those, fill it up before I go out, and that piece there, that bottle is probably about at least 4 hours worth of burning, I would have thought. Maybe less, but still it's a long time. So that constitutes a cooking system which you can use. You can use it in a tent, you can use it in the wet, you can use it in the rain, and I think that's very versatile. The Coleman is, as I said, it's a brilliant cooker, but it's very heavy. The Primus, again, that's quite bulky and heavy. This Twig stove, yeah, okay, you can take that with a Trangia, but if that's what you're going to do, then why wouldn't you take this one? Because this one's so much smaller and lighter. If you're going for a Twig stove, I don't think you can go far wrong with this. This one, I thoroughly recommend. I haven't had any problems with this. You can cook everything on that. The Jetboils, as I said earlier, whether it's the genuine Jetboil or one that's not genuine, they're great if you're heating up water, and they do that very, very quickly. But versatility for cooking, no, not really. The cassette cookers, not even in the game. You don't put those in a backpack. So I think my recommendation for an everyday all-round cooker is this one. which probably surprised most people, and I might get some adverse comments from it, but I think it's probably the most versatile. So that's what I think. Tell me what you think in the comments below, and please do like the video, and if you haven't subscribed, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed my opinion of my cookers. Goodbye.